Hey everyone, John here from TestPrepInsight.com, and today I'm going to be covering 5 meaningful factors to consider before enrolling in a healthcare administration degree program online. I know how maddening it can be trying to decide among all the different online universities out there, especially considering how vital your education is and the impact it can have on the rest of your life. But luckily for you, I'm going to cut out all the noise and really dig into the essential decision factors that truly matter, so you can figure out which online healthcare administration degree program is the right fit for your particular situation. So if you're ready, let's get to it. Alright, so before I dive into the factors, I should mention up front here that if at any point during this video you feel like you need some more information, make sure to check out the description below. I'll drop links in the text below the video screen over to a bunch of helpful sources, guides, and resources. So you'll definitely want to check that out as you continue your research. Also, if you find this video helpful in any way, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and drop us a quick comment below. That'd really be appreciated. Okay, let's get to it. So the first thing you need to do is take a step back and really contemplate what you want to do with your degree in healthcare administration. In other words, what is your end goal? Is it to become a nursing home administrator, medical reimbursement specialist, clinical supervisor, human resources manager, patient services representative? There are a ton of different options. The point is that you first need to narrow down what it is exactly you want to do or specialize in. This will help you figure out which healthcare administration degree program best aligns with your personal objectives. That way, as you do your research, you can start to recognize what I call X factors among all these different online universities and their degree programs. And by X factors, I'm talking about the specific attributes, offerings, and curriculum that align with your personal goals. So think different concentration options. Does the university offer a specific concentration for the career track you're most interested in? How many elective credits are there as part of the degree track? That way you can concentrate on the topics that you're truly passionate about. Are there any specific healthcare certifications that are integrated into the degree program so you can further boost your resume? Or maybe your end goal is to earn a master's degree after completing your bachelor's. In that case, you'll likely want to check out online universities that offer an accelerated bachelor's to master's pathway. Purdue University Global, which is a popular national online university, is a perfect example of this. Essentially, you can work towards a master's degree in healthcare administration, health informatics, health information management, or public health while you earn your bachelor's degree. That way you can complete both degrees in less time and at a lower cost than completing them separately. So the big takeaway here is that by spending time up front thinking about your end goals and objectives, it'll help you identify which programs might be a good fit for you personally. So, once you have a good idea of what your target degree program looks like, you need to consider admission requirements and the application process. So, online universities generally fall into one of two categories, either selective enrollment schools or open enrollment schools. Selective enrollment schools are the more conventional types of universities that probably come to mind when you hear the word college. Think Princeton, Duke, Northwestern. These types of universities tend to have stringent admission requirements. You'll likely need a minimum GPA, a good SAT or ACT score, and write a personal statement, among other things. So if you have a strong academic background and don't mind jumping through some hoops in order to get accepted into a top-ranked healthcare administration program, then you might want to focus your research on selective enrollment schools. Just keep in mind though, the acceptance rates at selective enrollment schools can be low. It's extremely difficult to get accepted. So you may also want to consider open enrollment universities. These types of schools are great for students who might not have the strongest academic background, or for people who have been in the military or workforce for a while and now are looking to go back to school, since the only admission requirement, depending on the program at open enrollment schools, is typically the students just have a high school diploma or GED. So if this type of admissions process is a better match with your background or current situation, I'd recommend checking out Purdue University Global. I'll be using them for example purposes throughout this video since they're a well-known national online university. I'll go ahead and drop a link down below in the description over to Purdue Global so you can get a better feel for what the application and admissions process is like at an open enrollment college. Okay, so the third and quite possibly most important factor to consider is tuition and affordability. How much is an online bachelor's degree in healthcare administration going to run you? And as you might imagine, there are a few factors to consider here. The first thing I would do is look at the university's tuition per credit rate and the number of credits required for graduation. So doing some quick math, this will give you a good idea of the total cost to earn your healthcare administration degree. Typically, national online universities will require either 120 or 180 credits to graduate. And then as far as tuition goes, it typically ranges between about $250 per credit on the low end, all the way up to $550 per credit on the high end. Though this depends on the universities you're considering, as well as other factors like whether you're in-state versus out-of-state, an international student, part of the military, and more. And then on top of the standard tuition cost, online universities usually charge other fees and assessments as well that you'll definitely want to keep an eye out for. These include technology fees, transcript fees, learning assessments, graduation fees, etc. Sometimes these secondary costs can really add up, so it's worth looking into prior to enrolling. Now, while we're on the topic of affordability, there are two more factors to keep in mind. One is allowable transfer credits. You'll definitely want to research this if you have credits left over from a college course you've taken in the past. This is a great way to reduce the overall cost of your degree program. For example, at Purdue University Global, they allow students to transfer up to 75% of the total credits required for graduation, and the average bachelor's graduate earns their degree in about 2 years. Of course, each online university has their own transfer policies and rules, so you should definitely do your own research, but I at least wanted to make you aware of this. Now, the other thing to look for here are trial periods. In some cases, online universities allow you to do a free trial run before you go and plop down thousands of dollars in tuition. For example, once again at Purdue Global, they offer a no financial obligation 3-week trial period. So essentially you can enroll, take classes for 3 weeks, see if you like it, and then decide whether you want to continue or opt out with no tuition cost, which I think is a pretty cool option for students that are maybe on the fence. For more information about how these trial periods work, check below in the description. I'll have a link down there over to Purdue Global who will walk you through everything. Okay, so the next factor to consider is financial aid. And I'm not referencing student loans here because at the end of the day, pretty much anyone can secure themselves a federal or private student loan. Instead, what's more important and interesting to look at is the average amount of institutional aid that universities provide directly. In other words, what percentage of new, beginning, full-time students get grants or scholarships from the actual university, not third-party sources? And what is the average amount of that aid? This will give you a good idea of what your chances are of securing funds from the university to help reduce the overall cost of earning your degree. And yes, that type of information is publicly available in case you're wondering. You can actually get this data directly from the US Department of Education. I'll go ahead and drop a link down below in the description over to the US Department of Education's website so you can check out what the stats are for the specific university that you're most interested in. Okay, so before we move on from the topic of financial aid, I should mention that some national online universities also offer different incentives and promotions to keep students motivated after they first enroll. In most cases, these incentives are called progress scholarships, welcome grants, or something to that effect. And essentially how they work is that if you stay continuously enrolled at the university and meet some other basic eligibility requirements, the schools will often reduce your tuition rate in order to keep you motivated and on track to earn your degree. And the other item you should inquire about is tuition locks. Some online universities lock in the tuition rate for the duration of your degree program after you first enroll. This means there won't be any surprise tuition hikes down the road. So definitely make sure to ask if one of these options is available to you during the application process. Okay, so the final factor on my list today that you should consider prior to enrolling is program format. But before I cover that, I should mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we give away a $500 scholarship to one lucky person as a way of saying thank you and to help ease the financial burden of higher education. It's super simple to enter. I'll drop all the details down below in the description, but just know, it takes less than 10 seconds to enter, and hey, you never know. You could win yourself $500 to help pay for your healthcare administration degree. Okay, back to program format, or in other words, how colleges structure their curriculum and schedule. In my experience, most online degree programs fall into one of 3 buckets: short accelerated terms, traditional school terms, and self-paced. So in that first category of short accelerated terms, some online universities work off 5 to 6 week terms in which students take 1 course at a time, or sometimes 2 max. The courses move very swiftly, but the nice thing here is that you only have to focus on 1 class at a time. You don't have to juggle 3 or 4 courses at once. So if you're the type of student who maybe has trouble multitasking or staying organized and on schedule, then this type of program format might be a good fit for you, assuming you have the free time for a compressed schedule. Now, the second type of format is the more classic college experience that you're probably used to, in which you take 2 to 5 classes per term. This is your typical quarter or semester system, and typically terms run anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. I'd say the majority of online universities fall into this bucket. So if you want a more typical, traditional higher ed schedule, even if part-time, I'd focus your research on these type of program formats. Purdue Global, which I've mentioned several times already in this video, follows this format. They offer 10-week terms in which each program requires a weekly commitment of around 15 to 18 hours on average. Again, the link for Purdue Global will be down below in the description. They have some helpful information on their website regarding how their courses and terms are structured, so you can get a better feel for this type of program format. Okay, so last up here, I want to cover the self-paced learning formats that seem to be picking up steam in recent years. Essentially, with these types of degree programs, you can take courses at your own speed and move on to the next course whenever you're ready. So if you want to tackle multiple courses at a time and fly through the degree program as quickly as possible, you can, in as little as 15 to 18 months in some cases. Or if you have other obligations like a full-time job or young children and you can only spare a few hours per week, you can slow it down and study at your own pace. So bottom line, if you're super busy or you have a hectic, chaotic schedule that's constantly changing, this type of self-paced program might be a great fit. And sometimes there are schools that offer both types of degree formats, Purdue University Global being one of them. You can earn your healthcare administration degree following the traditional path that I just covered a minute ago where there's 10-week terms, or for select students, Purdue Global also offers what they call their Excel track, which is a perfect example of the self-paced degree format where you're in the driver's seat. And that about does it for this video. I know making a decision about something as important as your education is extremely difficult, so I hope this was some helpful advice around online universities and gives you some guidance in finding a healthcare administration degree program that fits your specific goals, budget, and learning preferences. Again, if you want to learn more about online healthcare administration degree programs, be sure to check out the description below. I'll have a bunch of helpful information down there for you, including guides and resources related to scholarships and financial aid for you to check out. Also, if you're interested in another degree area outside of healthcare administration, be sure to check out the rest of the videos on our YouTube channel. We have a ton of helpful content related to higher education. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching, best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one.